right, hello everyone. My name is Drew. I work on Pinto. I'm on the founding team of Pinto, which is something very similar to an algorithmic stablecoin, although I don't normally use that term because I think it deviates from expectations a little bit when people hear the term stablecoin. Today I'm not going to talk about Pinto though, or myself really. Instead I'm going to talk about the more meta level of algorithmic stablecoins and why we've given up on them as an industry. So the reality right now is that everyone hates algorithmic stablecoins. It's really visceral when I go around these conferences or in real life and tell people what I'm working on and use the word algorithmic stablecoin. People react very poorly. They get pretty tense. Maybe they start tweaking, and then they like take on this defensive posture as if I'm going to reach around and extract the value from their wallet on the spot. There's just a general sense that anybody working on this is a scammer and is just here to create a Ponzi scheme and take value out of the system. And I think this is a real tragedy, but I understand where people are coming from. There was a lot of pain in 2021, 2022 around algorithmic stablecoins. People lost a lot of money, the industry lost a lot of value, and there were a lot of very serious consequences. But before that happened and before that trauma set in, people really did believe in the mission of algorithmic stablecoins. And there was a sense that this is a very important concept to be working on. And so I want to talk about how we went from this idea of algorithmic stablecoins being a holy grail of crypto to sort of being this taboo that nobody wants to talk about. So to better understand this trajectory, I'm just going to talk really quickly about the state of the game with stablecoins on chain. Stablecoins are really important. It's very easy to see that they're really important. Right now there's $220 billion of stablecoins on chain, which is a pretty massive number. For context, that's pretty similar to the total market cap of Ethereum, which I think everyone in this room would agree is a pretty important asset class. So we see that the market really values stablecoins, and there's no theory required there. It's very much the data is on chain. And so of all of this $220 billion, pretty much everything falls into two categories. These centralized stablecoins and these decentralized stablecoins. The centralized ones come with all of the existing problems of centralization that we know and love, the problems that we all are here to try to resolve. These ones are censorable, they require trust, and they're subject to the governments. And basically all of this value is inside of these two main tokens, USDT and USDC. So basically there's two actors and one or two governments that are controlling a huge portion of the value on chain. And I contend that this is a major problem. This really sucks. This is not good enough. Basically we have this incredible tech stack, meticulously designed from the ground up to be decentralized and free us from the traditional constraints of financial systems. And we're throwing it all away because on top of all of that tech, we're just holding centralized stablecoins. And this is not sufficient. If we want to eventually arrive at a truly decentralized economy, one that's better than what we had before, we need to move past this. We cannot accept this as good enough. And so, you see the second category here, which is decentralized. And at first glance, it sounds like the problem has been solved. But we can see from the market that it definitely has not been, because these bottom tokens cannot scale to the size necessary. Of this 220 billion, the vast majority is in these centralized systems, which scale very well, and only a small portion is in these decentralized alternatives. And the reason is because these have to be over-collateralized, which means that you're basically putting money in a contract, you're locking away, and that money is not doing anything for you or generating any value. It's very, very inefficient. And so, coming from, in the last slide, this was the state of the game today, and this is also the state of the game 5 years ago. Almost nothing has changed in this time. But 5 years ago, people wanted to change it. People had belief that we could do better, that we could create a scalable, decentralized stablecoin, and people were working towards that. But now, 5 years later, it never came to fruition, and we've given up. People don't work on it, and it's extremely taboo to work on it. And so how did we go from this place of really believing in this mission to being afraid, being terrified? And the way that we did this is through a traumatic history. All of the tokens you see up here are previous attempts at creating an algorithmic stablecoin. And this is definitely not an inclusive list. There are many, many more. But basically, every attempt has failed in some capacity. Unfortunately, the ones on the left here are the reserve-based systems are the more household names. These are the ones that people are really familiar with and really traumatized by. Primarily Terra Luna and UST, which was a disaster. It was a complete disaster. We saw, this system grow way too fast, up to 18 billion, and then within, 2 to 4 weeks, go down to almost zero. And the entire industry just took that $18 billion hit with, retail users really bearing the brunt of that. And this token primarily spawned the FUD around algorithmic stablecoins. But all of the, a lot of these other attempts also failed. And so when I say algorithmic stablecoins, this is what people think of. They think of Terra Luna and this reserve-based strategy, and they saw that it didn't work, and they assume that every other attempt will be the same and will fail the same way. But I think this is the real failure here, because this is a very limited way of thinking about the way that we can solve this problem. Truly, there's so many different tools that we have at our disposal to create a better system. So to really quickly break down these two types of systems, without getting too technical, the reserves-based, which you see on the left, they basically hold a pile of assets outside of the stable coin, and when the price of the coin goes down, they attempt to buy back the coin indirectly and push the price back up. The issue here is that when the reserves run out, there's no lender of last resort. Things spiral, confidence goes down, there's a bank run, and the token goes to zero, either very quickly or gradually. And we've seen this play out many times. And I don't think that there's really any future where this reserves-based stablecoin succeeds on a long time horizon. On the right, you have credit-based stablecoins. And a credit-based token, a credit-based currency is really not anything novel. This is the same type of mechanism used to maintain all current modern currencies, like the US dollar. It uses a system where users can give a loan to the protocol and exchange the belief that in the future they will be paid back. And this is how they maintain price. And the protocols you see here are more of a lineage rather than a random selection. So each of these protocols, starting in 2021, made an attempt at creating a credit-based stablecoin. And each of the protocols learned from the ones that came before it and did slightly better. And I think this is really where we need to continue our efforts, because each attempt can be slightly better than the last attempt. And we can, there's a lot of data to say that something like this might work at scale, and it might solve the problem between centralized tokens and unscalable tokens. Right, so I think that so I would really want to encourage people to distinguish these two types of systems from each other, and open your minds to the fact that maybe a credit-based stablecoin does have potential to work. And so the question that I ask myself pretty regularly when I'm working on Pinto, and the question that I would encourage a lot of people to ask themselves when they're feeling upset by this term, algorithmic stablecoin, is should we give up? Have we suffered enough? Are we so hopeless about the future of this system that we need to just go home, lick our wounds, and accept that the economy will be centralized forever? And for me, it's a resounding no. Like, we can't give up at this point. We've come this far in creating a decentralized economy, and I think we can go a little bit further. And I understand that there's been a lot of pain in the past and there's a lot of risk in the future, but I refuse to believe that this is the final threshold, the one single point where we cannot cross over from a traditional financial system into a new, better, decentralized financial system. And so I will continue to work on this and continue to push this needle forward. And I really encourage everybody to consider that maybe there is a way to create a healthy, decentralized, and scalable stablecoin. And that's all I want to say. So I'll be around all day if anybody wants to talk more.